Hey class, this week I'm going to actually lecture using a PowerPoint, a little bit more of an organized way of getting the information out to you. This week's chapter was really short and kind of was more practical, and it dealt with really imagination and how do you block, what's the effective blocks of leadership. Instead, I wanted to redirect this week to the challenges of leadership, which is by far more useful. So let's go ahead and get started. The challenges of leadership. We're looking at a three-headed problem here. We have external challenges to our leadership, we have internal challenges, and we have challenges rising from being a leader itself. This is from the roles of it. So think of it as outsiders, myself, and an everyday operation. And that should make sense to you. Now, one of the challenges of leadership most obvious, okay, anytime that we start a new project or it's about to start, people are going to have questions. They're going to want to know where, and we're going to know the who, what, where, when, and why, and they're going to be curious about how it's going to actually happen. Is it going to be something we can deal with? Is it something we can control? They're going to have questions. Anytime somebody has questions, it's going to become a challenge because you have to address those questions as the leader. They also are going to have questions when something's about to end. Okay, people get comfortable. Once we're jumping out of that comfort zone, they're going to be worried. When times are tough, it's hardest to lead an organization, especially a career organization, when there is no money. We're in a financial issues, or when we're having water issues. A few years ago, during a severe drought, we couldn't wash the fire trucks for 3 months. We had black fire trucks. It was kind of embarrassing. You know, we kept challenging everyone, saying, hey, we want to wash our equipment. We want to get clean. We want to be, look professional. And also during transitions. Anytime, any position being changed out, a senior firefighter coming in, a new captain, a new chief. Those are times people get worried because they, again, are in a comfort zone and they're about to come out of it. And it makes sense that there should be, I like what I like. Okay? So let's talk about, external challenges that a leader is going to face. Believe it or not, you're going to have issues your entire career with the public. Any decision you make, somebody's not going to like it, and they're going to be vocal about it. Okay? A good quote I read the other day was that if somebody's willing only to criticize in public but not in private, they just want attention, so don't pay attention to them. Flare-ups are other interpersonal issues. There are actually times when the real issue has nothing to do with the issue, but it's the personalities involved in the room, that they just don't like each other, or that they feel they were wronged. Two captains fighting for the same position, and one gets it and the other one doesn't. Okay? Crisis. Believe it or not, you're going to have crisis every day. At some point in your fire service career, you're going to come in and you're going to have a crisis in front of you. Don't know what it's going to be. It might be a firefighter stole money. It might be a firefighter got caught drinking. Might have got caught beating up their significant other. Don't let your career be just dealing with crises. Lead your organization. Opposition. Believe it or not, anytime you make a decision, somebody's not going to agree with you. And depending on who it is, they may get very upset. You may have to, for financial reasons, let's say you stop your Santa run. You just physically don't have the money to give candy out to everybody in the city. There's going to be a lot of powerful people that are mad at you. My recommendation for that is to go to them and say, listen, I don't have the funds for it. A financial or political windfall. Sometimes when you get too much money, all of a sudden you go out and you go on a spending spree and it doesn't work out very well for you. Or, when all of a sudden the council that you finally wanted gets there and they're starting to give you everything, realize that it's a temporary situation. And then collaboration. It's an external challenge. Think of all the different groups that want to work together with your organization. Okay? You might have some public awareness campaigns that you're going to run with the police or with the forestry service, or with public works or with any organization. And there's always going to be an expectation when somebody comes with you with a great idea, they want you to say yes. And sometimes you just can't. And those are challenges that we face every day as a leader. Then we have internal challenges. Believe it or not, you still are a real human. You have insecurities. I have never met anybody that was not insecure about something. And you know what? Because it's always going to eat and nag at you. You're going to have self-doubt. Okay? That's part of life. You're still human. And a lot of times what happens is when we hit an area that we're insecure about, we get defensive. All of a sudden we're just, okay, this is not my wheelhouse. I'm not really comfortable with it. Instead of trying to find somebody to work with me, all of a sudden I become very defensive. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. That's not something we're going to deal with now. I don't want to have that discussion. It can lead to lack of decisiveness. We go back and forth. We waffle. And while we're waffling, everybody's wondering what's wrong with us. We're human. Okay? There's times when there's an inability to be direct when there's a problem. If you can't be direct, you lose a lot of trust. A few years ago, I was teaching a rescue class, and I had somebody in there that was 400 pounds. And they couldn't pass a single practical. They failed every practical. This is back when we were doing it during the class. And I had to finally sit down with this person and say, listen, I hate to tell you, but unless you go to the gym, you're done. They said, well, I can pass the written test. And I said, here's the problem. The fire department's not about written tests. It's about doing the job. And you can't do the job right now. Inability to be objective. There are times when we get so into our head, so into one mindset, that we're going to push what we believe no matter what, even when there's a better idea in the room. That's the moment we need to take a deep breath and listen. God gave you one mouth, two ears. Must have been a reason. And you know what? That points to my last little bit on this slide, impatience. Everybody's impatient. But with others and with situations, believe it or not, we only have about 19 students in this program. And, they wanted more students, and that's perfectly acceptable. And I've told them, I said, you just got to be patient. We started kind of at an odd time, let it build itself up naturally. I'm happy where we're at. But there's a desire to get it done and get it done today or get it done yesterday. The reason I picked the picture I picked here is that I've watched my little daughter stare at the mirror and look at herself and try to figure out who she is. And I think that that's truthfully what we're still doing. I think we're still trying to figure out who we are or how we fit into everything. And there's nothing wrong with it. And it's okay to be insecure. But there's a way to deal with it. And we'll discuss it in a few slides. Okay? Challenges. Here's the thing. If you're in crisis mode, you forget about this. You get your eye off the vision. What is the vision of your organization? What is the vision of where you're leading these people to? What is the promised land? Are you still communicating it? Or are you so worried about the day-to-day operation that you've been looking at the number of fire calls, you've been looking at let's say the number of inspections, any of those areas, and you've kind of gotten to the day-to-day and you've not really been looking at the vision itself. We have to do the day-to-day, but we have to keep pursuing the vision also. We do this by setting an example. Try to do one thing a day that advances the vision of the organization. Do you have to be perfect 100% of the time? No. I am far from perfect. Okay? If anybody wants to challenge me on that, me and Will Keller will go for a run. Okay? If we'll both start at 9 o'clock and we'll go for a mile and he'll be done at 9, probably 9:07, 9:10, and I'll be done sometime the next day. So at least I got out there and I tried. Maintaining effectiveness over time. Believe it or not, we have to keep our eye on the vision and we have to keep our eye on the result. Am I still getting the effort out of the people? Am I still putting my effort in? Am I just phone calling all this in? Is my effort just a phone call? Another thing that you get caught up in, you can't do it alone. There's what we call diminished returns. If you're working at the fire station 20 hours a week, 20 hours a day as the fire chief, because you want everything to run perfectly, over time, you're not going to be very effective. Okay? Finding support. We have to find support. We have to have that network that's going to work with us. The day-to-day can be ran by other people, different aspects of it. Letting people actually help you is a big thing, but find support for yourself. Okay? How can you cope with the challenges of being the leader? Be proactive. If I have a game plan and I know that I have 10 things in front of me to get my vision of where I want the fire service to be, and it's going to take me a year to get there, doesn't it make sense to give people responsibility, to have a game plan? Don't be reactive to the situation. Be proactive. You know, if I know for a fact that my staff's getting a little bit older, guess what? I'm going to start recruiting younger people. I'm going to start a more rigorous exercise program because I'm going to try to squeeze every last little bit I got out of my old people. I'm going to be creative. If you're in a rut, even as the leader, do something different. I love this. The simple idea of switching seats in a fire truck. If you're the captain, switch seats for the day. Let the engineer drive. Let the engineer be the captain. Let the rookie in the back be the captain for a little bit. It won't hurt anything. Take on interesting assignments. Look at problems from a different angle. And actually, sometimes the coolest thing to do is to turn it loose as a contest. If you were given an assignment you don't like, go back to your crew and turn it into a contest to see how they would answer it. You're helping develop them, and they're also helping to refine you. Another thing that you have to do, face conflict squarely. If you're the leader, me hiding in my office because I'm scared the provost is going to come in here and shut my program down is not going to do anything effective. I keep hearing the door knock, and I'm still hiding under my desk. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go open the door. Because once the moment's over, it's over. Don't hide from conflict. Embrace it. And when you go to the door, most likely it's not the provost coming to shut you down. It may be them bringing you a student for once. Okay? I always look for common ground with people. How many times has Maxwell told us, we've got to find the common ground. We've got to build together. Retain your objectivity. Believe it or not, it's not my way or the highway. It's who has the best idea. And, there are moments where that's perfectly acceptable. If we're at a fire and I know exactly how I want something done, then I should follow it exactly the way I want it done. But other times there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong when you're having your pre-planning discussions that the new person can't come in and give some ideas. Let them be creative. Let them say, okay, well, if you're sick today and I'm having to ride that seat, this is what I want to do. And listen to them. There's nothing wrong with it. Look for opportunities to collaborate. Give some of the weight away. If the car seat program at your fire station, if you're actually doing car seats for small children, if it's honestly stopping you from actually getting out and doing your real job, why don't you set up a chance for you and the police department to do it together and then take some of the weight off of you? Or do it with the rescue squad. Look for people that you can work with on common areas. Everybody wants to make sure the child's buckled in correctly. Another thing, how do you deal with challenges of being a leader? You listen. Again, the 2 ears, 1 mouth thing. If I walk around, I'm discussing everything with my team, then guess what? I'm not going to be surprised. I'm going to know what's going on. They're my first line of defense. Okay? Again, that's getting into looking at what's going on around you. If I looked at sheer number of students in our program right this moment, I'd be worried. Okay? Putting it back on me as an educator, we've got about 19 of you. But if I'm looking at everything else that's happening, all the different recruiting efforts that are going out, the areas that we're into now, helping with Charlotte with their testing, we're now helping Charlotte possibly with their fire officers. We're getting bigger and bigger, and we're growing. We're doing organic things. So when I'm looking at things that I didn't think were going to happen, and they're happening, I'm going to get happy. Reach out for help when facing internal challenges. Hey, get that mentor and talk to them about your personal problems. It's okay. Okay? Understand what's going on. Call your mom and dad. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay? Talk to your spouse. Now, create ways to revisit your vision. Think of different ways throughout the day. Am I doing something that's building the department that I dream of? Or am I building what I want to, or am I destroying what I love? Share the burden. Hey, guess what? You're not the only person in the world. A football team wouldn't be very effective if the coach was the only one that knew the plays. and had to scream them in every position into their ear, it wouldn't be effective. Let people share with you. No offense. That's why the captain has that senior firefighter. Okay? That's really why the senior firefighter has that rookie. They can share a little bit of the burden, some of the responsibilities off of the truck. You know, everybody can share in the lighten the load. Okay? Find an individual or group whom you can discuss the realities of leadership. Leadership is pretty interesting, and it brings up a lot of challenges. Find your own support group. Remember that inner circle you were talking about with Maxwell? That's what we're coming back to. Nice thing, make sure you have personal time. Don't lose yourself in your job. Americans are one of the few societies where we identify with what we do for a living. The very first question you usually get asked after your name is, what do you do for a living? Not, do you have a child? Are you married? Not, do you go to church? It's all about that. And I'm going to warn you, don't focus just on your career. Focus on your family. Focus on time you can spend with your children. They're here for a very short time. I have a very good friend, and I get on to him all the time. I said, you were blessed with beautiful children. I said, get out and enjoy them. I had a friend who was a photographer, and he has probably, I would guess, I don't know how many thousands of pictures of his kids outside, but he's not in them. Have personal time and enjoy it. It's the reason we work. We work to live. We don't live to work. Final thoughts. Your book this week really went into more of the nuts and bolts of the blocks to leadership. But what I wanted to talk about this week was getting the game and lead. I love Paul Combs because these are always interesting pictures, and if you look at it, just do something. You know, go forward. You've got most of the skills you need. Time's going to be the greatest teacher you ever have. Challenges to leadership is to get out and do it. Like I said before, there's two types of firefighters in the world. There's T-shirt wearers and there's firefighters. A T-shirt wearer can tell you every truck in the county. They'll probably tell you how long it takes them to get there. And a firefighter can tell you how to put a fire out because they're going to go do it. Same thing. Don't be a T-shirt leader. Be a real leader. Good luck. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you shortly.